You know that person? The one who barely posts? No stories, no random updates, no photo dump. No need to let the world know what they ate, where they went, or how they felt about something 5 minutes after it happened. And somehow, they feel different. Not louder, not cooler, not more dramatic, just different. Calmer, maybe. Harder to read, a little more grounded. Like their mind belongs to them in a way most people's minds don't anymore. And if you've ever met someone like that, you've probably felt it too. That strange little curiosity. What is it about them? Why do they seem so unaffected by something that pulls almost everyone else in? And what happens to a person when they stop living with an invisible audience in their pocket? Because that's really what social media is, isn't it? Not just an app, not just entertainment, an audience, a silent room full of eyes. And after a while, even when you're not posting, a part of your brain still knows they're there. That's what makes this interesting.
When life stops becoming content. People who don't use social media aren't just offline. Psychologically, they start relating to life a little differently. They move through the day without constantly translating everything into something shareable. A meal is just a meal. A walk is just a walk. A funny moment doesn't become content. A sad moment doesn't become a caption. It just stays theirs. And that changes something deep. Because when you stop turning your life into something to be seen, you also stop editing yourself so much. You stop asking, how does this look? You stop wondering, would people react to this? You stop framing your experiences from the outside. And little by little, you return to living them from the inside. That might be one of the biggest psychological differences. People who don't use social media tend to have less performance in their personality. Not fake performance exactly, just that constant low-level adjustment most of us barely notice anymore. The tiny urge to polish, to present, to shape yourself in a way that feels more acceptable, more impressive, more interesting. When that pressure disappears, even partly, something else appears in its place. Relief. A quieter mind. A slower inner world. A version of yourself that doesn't need to be witnessed to feel real. And honestly, that's rare now.
The people who can still be bored. Another thing that seems different about these people is their relationship with boredom. Most of us don't even let boredom fully arrive anymore. The second there's a gap, elevator, waiting room, traffic light, bathroom line, 2 quiet minutes before sleep, we reach for the phone. Almost without thinking. It's become automatic. But people who don't use social media as much, they usually don't rush to fill every empty second. They let the silence sit there. They let their thoughts wander. They stare out windows. They replay conversations. They notice things. And that sounds small, but it isn't. Because boredom is where your mind starts talking again. It's where reflection begins. It's where ideas form. It's where feelings, the ones you keep outrunning all day, finally catch up to you. If you never let yourself be bored, you also never really meet yourself in a quiet room. And maybe that's part of why some people stay online all the time, because silence feels unfamiliar now, maybe even uncomfortable. But people who don't rely on social media seem to have made peace with that silence. And over time, that gives them something a lot of people are starving for. Mental space.
Why they seem more steady. There's also something else. These people often seem less emotionally pulled around. Not emotionless, not cold, just less constantly activated. Because social media doesn't only give you connection, it gives you comparison, stimulation, outrage, temptation, noise, tiny hits of validation, tiny stings of rejection, 100 chances a day to feel like you're behind, left out, ignored, not doing enough, not interesting enough, not attractive enough, not enough. And the wild part is, you can absorb all of that without even realizing it. A normal scroll can leave you feeling restless, drained, or weirdly dissatisfied, and you won't always know why. People who don't live inside that stream are exposed to less of that emotional turbulence. Their mood doesn't get tugged every few minutes by whatever the feed decides matters today. So their inner world has a better chance of staying steady. And maybe that steadiness is what people notice first. Not the absence of posting, the absence of hunger, the absence of that twitchy, scattered energy. They don't seem like they're waiting to be seen, and that has a strange kind of power.
A quiet kind of rebellion. Of course, this doesn't mean they're better than anyone else. That's important. Some people don't use social media because they're private, some because they're busy, some because they got tired of it, some because it started making them feel bad in ways they couldn't explain, and some still use it a little, they just don't let it sit at the center of their life. So this isn't really a morality thing. It's more of an attention thing, an identity thing, a nervous system thing. What changes in a person when they're no longer checking, comparing, posting, reacting, refreshing? Usually, they get a little more of themselves back. More uninterrupted thought, more privacy, more presence, more moments that belong only to them. And in a world where almost everything is trying to pull your attention outward, that becomes a kind of quiet rebellion. Maybe that's the psychology of it. Not that people who avoid social media have discovered some secret formula for life, but that they've protected a part of their mind that most people gave away slowly and barely noticed it happening. And maybe that's why they feel different. Because in a loud world, a person who doesn't need constant digital noise starts to feel almost rare. If this made you pause for a second, maybe that means part of you misses that quiet too. I put together a simple guide on protecting your focus in a noisy world. If you want it, it's linked below. No pressure. Just something small to help you think a little clearer.